Hello, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today, I'm thrilled to take you on a 2010 film called Henry's Crime Spoilers. Ahead, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Today, we will be taking a look at a story called Henry's Crime. The story begins on a gloomy night, lonely stretch of New York, where we see a toll booth where a man is doing his night shift as a toll collector. He is handsome, grim-faced, and staring around unemotionally. The road lights and vehicles around him appear to have little appeal to him. He's either doing his job or passing the time. Finally, the night have come to an end, and so does shift. He's walking home with the same ice-cold attitude. He's at home now. His wife is serving him breakfast, and they exchange greetings with the same frigid expression. His wife calls his name and asks Henry, "Do you still love me?" The answer is, "Of course I do." But Henry doesn't even change his expression. Their talk reveals that Debbie, Henry's wife, desires children. But Henry, while he loves children, is not interested in having their own. The doorbell rings. And Debbie seems uninterested in who is reigning, because she has yet to receive an answer. Henry opens the doors and Eddie appears. It appears that Henry and Eddie were friends at times. There is another man with him, Joe, who is vomiting and lying on the ground. They managed to get him into the room. Eddie informed Henry that they are planning a baseball game, but that due to Joe's illness, they would be unable to participate. He invites Henry to join the game because their player is currently unable to play, but this was not the baseball game. There was something else. They drive away, and as Henry inquires about the baseball, Eddie responds quickly and requests that they stop at the next bank, ATM, so that they could get some money for beer. Aside from Eddie and Henry, there are two other guys when Henry arrived at the bank, and he told him that he should be in the car and that the engine should be turned on. They leave, and Henry notices that the car is not legal because the engine wires were directly connected to start the engine. Did Eddie steal the car, and were they planning to rob the bank? Right now, yes, Eddie and his associates enter the bank to rob him. But they are completely unprepared, so the security alarm ring bank employees begin bucking off. As soon as Henry's car starts, a security guard draws his pistol. Henry, who had no understanding what was going on, raised his hands politely and surrendered. The innocent. Henry has been apprehended for a crime he did not even commit. Henry is being interrogated about his partners, but he did not give any name. Maybe he is too loyal to them, or maybe he only knows Eddie's name. Well, they're now in court, where the judge has sentenced Henry to 3 years in prison for robbery. Everything is accepted fully by our meek and silent protagonist, as though living in a cell or at home makes no difference to him. He is fine with it. He is now in a cell with Max Kahn, and he appears to be in good spirits. They exchange greetings and inquire as to the reason for their confinement. Max is about 50 years old, seasoned and at ease in the jail. They both became friends, and Max informs him about jail rules and introduces him to other terrible prisoners on the first night at dinner. Max stated during conservation that the real crime is not committing to your dreams. When he questions Henry about his dream, he claims to be oblivious of it and doubts that he has ever had a dream. Max finds this weird and wonders what life would be like without dreams. You see, Max is a great guy, and he is instilling in Henry's mind a notion that will change his life forever for a man to achieve his purpose. He must first have a dream. The film switches to a 6-month later scene. Debbie pays a visit to Henry in jail. They're still in the same frigid mood as the first day. Debbie is really here to inform Henry that she now wishes to marry Joe. Do you recall him? Yes. The guy that was vomiting in the beginning and carried out the robbery. Henry smiles as he congratulates her. Another year has passed. Henry appears to be accustomed in jail. Max is there with other prisoners doing their shaves and telling them stories. But Henry has grown his beard, possibly due to the grief that his wife is no longer with them. But we all know our Henry dude. He is not the type to take anything personally. Henry is going on parole now, but he is not looking excited in her cell room. He bids farewell to Max and goes out. He looked to be uncertain about where he should go, so he heads to Debbie's former residence. Joe greets him and appears unconcerned about anything, treating Henry like a visitor. what he's a visitor in the house where he formerly lived. Debbie was his wife, but as fate would have it, he is now a stranger. Debbie serves him beer while remaining calm. She is not pregnant, much to Henry's shock. Joe wanted to thank Henry for not giving his identity to the cops during the robbery. Henry explains cynically that he had no idea what his name was. Henry is now homeless and unemployed. Max had taught him philosophy. If you do the time, you might as well commit the crime. So he's now standing in front of the bank where he was once charged with a crime. A car strikes him on the hip. This scene introduces Julie Ivanova, a local actress well known for her Buffalo ads and who is presently performing in the Cherry Orchard at the local theater. Julie is a kind and compassionate person. She yells at Henry for obstructing traffic while assuring him that he is okay. Julie is acting as though she did not want to be sued. Frank, the security guard who detained Henry, now assists him and recognizes him as the old bank robber, as they walk to the cafe so Julie can buy him a coffee before leaving for rehearsal. In the cafe, Henry remembers Julie from Buffalo, Tawad on television. Something tells me Frank isn't the same now. When Julie and Frank have finished their coffee, Henry heads to the bathroom while urinating in the cafe toilet. Henry notices an old article posted on the wall that describes how during Prohibition, a tunnel once connected the theater where Julie and other performers are rehearsing a play to the bank's vault. Henry is reading the newspaper while thinking about something. Now is the moment for Henry to do his crime. First, Henry visits the prison to inform Max that he has finally discovered his dream. Max was perplexed and surprised. He suddenly questioned what kind of dream it is to rob a bank and then tell someone about it in jail. He rejects the notion right away, arguing that the jail is his home and that he will not come out only to rob a bank. Henry argues that he cannot spend his entire life in jail and die in misery. Furthermore, he tries to persuade Max that he wants his assistance in breaking into the vault. Henry's reasoning succeeds, and two buddies wind up sharing a Buffalo flat. They go to the cafe where Henry saw the newsletter, and Max notices the map is 80 years old because the bank structure had changed. They had to go to the bank first and then to the theater for confirmation. In the bank, Max's conman abilities assist him in ascertaining that there is still a tunnel. Then they go to the theater, where Max pretends to be an old performer. From 30 years ago, Henry introduced him to Julie, and with Julie's assistance, Max was able to tour the whole theater. He confided in a manager who was aware of the tunnel. The manager reports that the tunnel has been shut and that they now have the dressing room of one of their performers, Lo Pechin. There, Henry asks Julie in the performance auditorium for a date. Henry tells her to story, and they set a date for Chinese food to kick off their love relationship. They go out and have a great time. Our emotionless wooden boy is feeling sweet vibes with Julie. Looks good. Max decides they must enter the dressing rooms, so he offers his assistance. He also convinces one of the performers to leave the plate so that Henry may participate. That's correct. Our wooden boy will now play an actor in the Cherry Orchard in order to break into the vault, and they manage to persuade the violent director who spends the majority of the film lecturing Julie why she's a bad actor. I'm not sure what he's got against our adorable Julie. Max believes Henry is a natural actor. Thus, he is convinced that Lo Pechin will be no problem for Henry, and yes, Henry proves himself, cutting the crap. Henry and Max are in. They shattered the wall of the dressing room where the tunnel is, but because the tunnel is filled with sand, they must now dig it out, which requires the assistance of a third person. So they go to Joe, who is drinking in a tavern. He is dissatisfied with his employment. Henry offers an assistance and a job, so the three begin digging. Max and Joe are constantly working in the tunnel, while Henry must also attend the rehearsal. The routine seemed smooth, until one night Frank interrupted them and told them that he was constantly observing them around the bank. They attempt to lie, but Frank informs them that he is aware of their objectives and wishes to be a part of it. Frank chooses to play insider and informs them that there will be a monthly currency exchange where the bank will have millions and millions of dollars and that it is a one-time transaction because he is retiring. Frank's motivation for joining the theft is heartbreaking. The bank refused him a loan when his wife was dying, so they enlist him. But wait, the squad isn't finished yet. We still have one bad man remaining, Eddie Joe, who was inebriated. Brought in one night. He wants to be in, yet refuses to dig. Max becomes enraged, but they must enroll him as well. During the practice, Julie became agitated and rushed to her room, after Direct accused her of not performing the acting that appealed to her. Henry, our sweetheart, goes to offer his condolences, and it is then that he says that he is going to leave during the opening night of the Cherry Orchard show, because Henry is now a significant character in the play. The play start is impossible without him. As a result, Julie became even more unhappy. She shouts at him and tells him to leave her alone. Henry intends to break into a bank vault during the play's opening night performance, which he will assist with in between acts, and have no one notice. Eddie's contribution is to use welding equipment to enter the vault. I'm not sure how they intended to do it in any other case, even though Eddie is the only one who is aware of how to enter a vault and use the necessary machinery. Finally, with Eddie's assistance, they have reached the vault on the other side. Henry is acting in the show, but he stays informed between the intermissions they placed the cash in sacks and carried them into the Lopin's room. Hey dude, Eddie in the room transforms into the old Eddie and threatens Max of the revolver while directing Joe to take the cash to the car. He intended to take the cash and keep it for himself. However, our con guy has now shown his strength by punching Eddie to the ground. The three put the cash in the car, drive off. Henry asks the driver to pull over so he may stop and think. He realizes how much he wants to leave the women he loves. He rushed back inside the theater where Julie is performing in Cherry Orchard's final scene. Max storms in and confesses his eternal love. He requests that Julie meet him in Moscow. They have their final kiss, and it's over. Please subscribe and hit that like button to help our channel grow. Turn the notifications on so you won't miss out any of our new videos. Thanks for watching.